Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Naomi Tucker, your host here on the Planners on Purpose podcast. I'm excited to be with you today for yet another episode. And today's a very special day because we are celebrating 100 episodes. Can you believe it? It has been 100 episodes since 4 years ago when this podcast was started. And it's really great to be here. I have been looking forward to this moment for a really long time, and I wanted to hit that goal in 2023. So I'm so excited to be able to be here with you saying, hey, it's the 100th episode of the podcast. So this is great. I'm just super thankful for everyone that comes and listens and downloads. Even more grateful for those of you that have rated the podcast favorably, of course, and also have left wonderful comments. All of those things continue to keep me motivated to bring you yet another episode and continue to seek out really great guests and topics that you will definitely resonate with. So it's been great, and I'm just excited to have you here. And during this episode, we're going to do some reflecting back on previous episodes and really some of the top most heard gems that people that have come and have listened to the podcast have really gravitated towards certain episodes. So we're going to talk about those episodes in a light way, and then I'll make sure to link all of them in the description so that you can go back and check them out if they resonate with you and if it's something that you haven't yet listened to. But yeah, this is so exciting. I can remember when I first started my podcast, I was very nervous, not sure if anybody would listen, not sure if anybody would get where I was going, but it's just really great to see that you all have continued to just download and you're tracking with me and you're picking up what I'm putting down. And from that very first episode, I know I have gained lots of confidence and just met some amazing people in the industry. So I'm very excited to just be celebrating this. And again, like I wanted to do today was really go through the top 5 episodes that basically everyone has downloaded and really just talk about them a little bit, and also just share some of my vision for the podcast and where we go from here. And I'm excited to be able to share that with you too. So we're going to talk about like the top 5 podcast episodes. I'm not necessarily putting them in any particular order, but I certainly wanted to share with you what they were and just see if that's something that you might want to go back and take a look and listen to. The first episode I wanted to highlight was a really great episode, and I had a guest on the episode. Her name is Leah Weinberg, and we talked about the emotional side of a planner's job. And this was such a great episode because it really helped support event professionals with basically the feelings and emotions that came up during a planner's job. And I love Leah as a guest because she personally brought in examples from her world and how she went through an experience of just really not having the best person, the best customer, and how that customer made her feel and how she reacted to the customer and how she got through a situation where you're just not necessarily treated very good at all. So it was a great episode. I can understand why people really gravitate towards this episode because being an event planner is very emotional at times. We are in periods of high stress, and how we respond to the stresses that we have at any point can really change the outcome of the event, or it certainly can change what our experience is with it. Leah in the episode shared a 3-step process, and I will link this below. You can definitely go back and really listen to the explanation of it. But what I appreciated about it is she gave us a 3-step process for handling stress or the emotional responses at an event. And the first tip she gave was to take the emotional response in nicely. So if someone's coming after you and they are giving you all of that negative energy and really kind of taking that attack pose at you for something that may not have gone well, just take the response in nicely. Just go ahead and absorb it. Number 2 is think through it logically. And so think through what your response is, or think through what that person is basically asking for you to do logically, right? And that means taking the emotion out of it. And number 3 is check in with yourself emotionally to see how you're feeling. And so that's after everything is all said and done, just check in with yourself, see how you're doing, and really help yourself. If there's some support that you need around yourself, or you need to do some self-care, definitely make sure that you're checking in with yourself to see how you're feeling. And I want to go back to number 1. When I say taking the emotional response nicely, although I said to absorb that, I just want to kind of cancel that. Try to let that emotion go through you. We don't want to absorb someone else's not niceness. We just want to allow it to just go through us, respond in a nice way, and then think through it logically, act, and then check in with yourself after to see how you're feeling. So I thought that was very powerful, what Leah shared in the episode. And again, I'll make sure to put it into the description so that you're able to go back and to really just listen in on some of the other goodies that are in that episode. So that was the first episode. That was with Leah Weinberg. It's called Hooked on a Feeling, the Emotional Side of a Planner's Job. Okay, moving on. So the second podcast episode that really has done really great and people love to download it and listen to it. It is called 3 Keys to Building Amazing Teams. And, everyone that comes into this podcast, they love listening to how to have teams be super effective. I just recently released an episode that was some characteristics of a high-performing team. So you can also look at that one too, and I'll link it below. But this particular one was just really great because it really focuses on the shifts that we were really working through while we were going into another different era of the pandemic. When this episode came out, we were kind of just getting out of the pandemic. We had lost team members. We had gained some back, and pretty much the face of our teams was just totally different. And if they were the same, people internally definitely changed due to what we went through during the pandemic. So this episode, some of the really highlights of this episode was really taking into consideration that people were just exhausted. They were exhausted from all the hard work that happened in that season. Many people were looking to get back to work, but then we were doing things differently. So when you're in a position where you have teams that are changing very rapidly, and I think even now we are in a position where our teams and the dynamics of our employees are certainly different. Listening to your team and just being attentive to what their needs are is probably more crucial now than ever. We are in a particular phase in the world that we do have different people want to work differently now. A lot of people want to be more remote. Others do not want to work, a 60-hour week. And so they're looking to shape their lives differently. So listening to your team, their personal needs, can really help you navigate what they need, especially when the outside world or the economy and global events happen. You know how to really make sure that you're speaking to them, helping them, supporting them in a way that you can have some really great retention on your team. Okay. So that's what that episode was about. It really talked about vulnerability and how, you can allow your teams to make mistakes gracefully. And it talked about using the current moment or what you go through as an organization or as, let's say, an event planner leading a team, how you can crystallize your purpose and really embed that in a team so that they just can shoot for the stars. So I really hope that you take a look at that episode. Again, it's called 3 Keys to Building Amazing Teams. And yeah, check it out. So this third episode was super special because I had an opportunity to feature Jordan Kentris. And Jordan, he's the owner of A Good Day. He also was recognized as one of the most innovative people in 2020 for his creative and holistic approach to virtual events. It was just really great to have him on the podcast. And what he spoke on was turning criticism into positivity as a planner. And I know we talked a little bit about this with a previous episode, but it is very important that we respond to criticism in a way that's going to help our overall well-being and in a way that is going to set an example for our clients, our teams, as we continue to move forward and doing the planning of these events. So Jordan was great, and he really talked about how we can listen to the voice of the customer and how we can really get some insight into service offerings and how we can repackage and provide unique solutions, because it's important for us to know what our customer needs, because when they do come to us with criticism, sometimes we have to have a different ear about it, not taking it personally, but hearing what they're actually saying and what they're actually telling you that they want, so that you can then provide them a solution to help meet their need. So Jordan talked about that. We also talked about how it's important for us to be honest and transparent when we're communicating with clients. It's so important. Our industry changes, again, very rapidly. Staffing changes, resource changes, and all of these types of things, including economics and global events, those all can be impacting their event. And our role as an event planner is to really understand our purpose and communicate with them in a way that's going to help move them forward and have them have the best event. Jordan was great because he offered some tips on really just how to get through situations when we do have a client that is looking to look at just giving us a little bit of criticism. He did say how important it was to have those weekly status meetings with your client, making sure that you're keeping them in the loop, and how beneficial that is, that they're not left in the dark. That way, criticism is minimal because your client knows what's happening and they knows what the status is on certain different things. So it was just a really great episode. I encourage that you go ahead and take a listen to it. And it really helps you to really just dig in and get some really practical tips on how you can communicate better with your clients and in the long run help their events be so much better than what they were. Use the tips that you get in this episode so that you can help improve the relationships with your clients. So I hope you enjoyed that episode as well. So the fourth episode here that was so impactful and powerful for people that they come back and download it over and over again is how to stay focused on your goal. This particular episode gave some very practical application on how you can actually stay focused and meet your goal. And it was really catered to speak to if you've ever struggled in meeting the goals that you set. And I gave you some strategies in order to be able to do that. And you all know that I am super passionate about making sure that you're doing what you need to do, not only in your personal life, but also professionally as well. I want you to be able to find what drives you and what fuels you to be able to accomplish those goals. And I try to encourage you to find goals that just are yours, are your personal goals. Not everything has to be about that of your employer. And even if you're a small business owner, not everything has to be about your business. Maybe there are certain things, aspects of personal growth, aspects of your family, or just your hobbies that you want to be able to expand and grow in either in the new year or right now. Why wait, right? So this episode was all about helping you do that. It focuses a lot on how to come up with your goals, how to measure your goals, and really the unique thing that I talked about is doing these goal sprints, having quick and easy tasks that you can do to get a head start towards your goal. And many of you probably remember that recently I did another podcast episode that was talking about how to finish strong. And that was similar to a goal sprint. We're here towards the end of the year. You probably have some goals that you wanted to complete here in this particular year. And how do you really evaluate which goal that you do and how can you do some quick sprints so that you can go ahead and meet your goal? Those are goal sprints, and just identify what you need to do and go for it. So that was also some aspects of this podcast episode. So definitely go ahead and check it out. It would be great for you to go ahead and do that, especially as we're getting into a new year. We're getting towards the end of this year, heading into a brand new calendar year. And if you really have goals that you want to meet and you really want to make sure that you're designing a thorough plan of action for some of the things that you're envisioning for yourself for next year, I just invite you to join me for my Plan Your Year 2024 workshop. It's going to be a workshop that's going to be offered in December, mid-December. I will leave the link for it in the description, but we are going to really talk about visioning your goal. I'm going to give you resources for tracking that. You're going to get a calendar, a digital calendar to be able to utilize to kind of put your goals throughout the year. We're definitely going to be giving you some additional resources and bonuses if you do come and spend some time with us in December. But this particular workshop is for you to help you get set up and help you to be able to be in a position where you feel good about the goals that you have for yourself and you feel like you're on the right track. So, and we're going to be talking about accountability too, and how you can stay accountable to those goals throughout the year. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to get into it. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you there. The link is in the description if you are interested. And finally, the last episode that I wanted to highlight today was an episode with a special guest. Her name was Deanna Nuoso. She had an episode called The Power of Memories. If you want to go ahead and look that up, again, the link will be in the description for you to make it easy. But Dina is a leader in the meetings and event industry, and she really just came and spoke powerfully about memories. And she shared her personal story on how she was able to get started and break through some barriers that she had that was in her way from getting what she wanted. Those things allowed her to be able to show up and speak to us about what the power of memories was. And I really encourage you to go ahead and check out that episode so you can listen in on some of those other things. Deanna talked about embracing what's for you and try not to be stressed about what's not for you, because sometimes we take on other people's problems and other people's perspective. So it's really great to be able to embrace what is for you and kind of dismiss what's not. We just talked gig work and contract work and how that's been seen as an up and coming trend in the industry, which it is. And I believe it's still going strong right now. So you can hear a little bit more about what her thoughts were on those other sources of work. And then just really diverse income streams are an aspiring trend too for people. And I think that still is even more true. We're seeing that is a trend in the industry for people to have different income streams, passive income streams, so that if anything were to happen, like another pandemic, another health, crisis, or anything, economic crisis, people want to feel a little bit more stable, because I think we all got caught off guard in the recent pandemic, and being able to have your income streams be a little bit more supportive of you, and should anything happen to like your main role or job, that is definitely something that people want to make sure that they're stable. I think it's just all about stability. And then finally, one thing I wanted to mention about this episode was, because it is about the power of memories, is that we talked about of how planning memories and moments can be super powerful, and how it's important for, as event professionals, that we take time and pay attention to those moments and to those moments that we can instill in our clients' events and for attendees that attend those events. It's so powerful when you can't tune in and focus on those moments and creating those moments and experiences. And Dina had one question that she wanted everyone to take away from that episode, and it was more of, what do you want your attendees to feel, or what do you want them to know when they walk away from your event? And if you focus on that question, then that can really help you be in a key position to have some transformative moments as you're planning your events. So those were the 5 top most listened to episodes on the Planners on Purpose podcast. And I hope you enjoyed that rundown of all of them, and that if you haven't listened to them, to go back and take a listen, and also pay some of those other episodes some attention. They definitely are well worth it. But I wanted to highlight these today, and I just wanted to, again, just thank everyone for being a faithful listener here on the podcast. And I look forward to delivering more podcasts in the future. I hope you enjoyed it and you're able to at least glean some of the goodness that is in all of these episodes, sprinkled throughout all of them. So I really appreciate everything. If you would like to, again, sign up for that annual planning workshop, the link is in the description. And then also I will link here for an opportunity for you to get on my newsletter. I do have a newsletter that goes out, and usually the newsletter audience would really hear about things that are going on at Planners on Purpose first. And then you also will get some updates as it relates to the podcast. So if that is something that you're interested in, you will also see the link below for that as well. And I would love to have you in my inside circle and on that list. But that is all I had for today. Cheers to 100 episodes. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.